So I'm with Gary Holt, the owner of the Josephine mine, and he's going to explain about what the Josephine mine is, and then what I think is some exciting things that he's looking for, people that are honest, people that are willing to help him. I'll let him explain all that. And with that said, Gary, take it away.
Okay. Well, I think I've located the Josephine mine. I have a website, josephinegoldmine.com, that pretty well thumbnail sketches what I've found. You can go online and do that. There's also a email address there, so if you want to contact me. Basically, I'm looking for people that are treasure hunting inclined. And of course, we all want to find hidden treasure. And so that probably covers everyone. There's a certain group out there that Terry is part of, that are they've got the right kind of equipment that I'm interested in, metal detectors, whatever, to find on old ancient trails any high rich gold. And they go to actual mines that I've found at the end of the trails that are of Spanish origin. And so my purpose is to offer as compensation, and this may seem outlandish, but if you find rich gold ore along a 500-year-old trail, you can keep the first, we'll split the first $1 million. You get 500,000, I get it, but you don't get any more because I've got a political agenda with it. And so I've got an office in Salt Lake where we can have seminars to discuss all of this. And so when you email me and give me a number or whatever, and and you think you're worthy, and that's what the honest, huh? worthy, honest is, whatever. And it says worthy at josephinegoldmine.com. So because I have for the majority of the money that should be there, that might be there, the gold, which is the ultimate currency, I have a political agenda for it. Anyway, that's a long story. We're going to have seminars.
So also, Gary, you was telling me that you're going to teach people how to file their own mining claims. I guess you're going to do that at this little seminar you're going to put on. Tell me about that.
That seems like it would be a strange thing for me to do, because that means that other people could go up there and make more claims. But my contiguity rights and everything would cover that, and they still wouldn't know where to go. But if they do, that's up to them. I don't think that it would be to my interest, if I'm greedy and wanting everything for just me, to do that. However, it's my opinion that especially your group, who have been wandering around finding gold in the finished form for so many years, that maybe they ought to think, well, maybe where this came from is near. And so if they've got places where they've found treasure or whatever, then they can make a claim. And I'm licensed in Salt Lake County as a mining consultant under Josephine de la Martinique Mining Company. And so that doesn't make me qualified, but because of my experience with the mine, the Josephine, I know in the legal ramifications of the BLM, things that part of the seminar will cover. And the seminar's free. There's no charge to any of that.
That's what I was just going to ask, man. How much are you charging for it? And you just said, man, this is free to everybody, man.
Yeah, because everybody ought to be able to exercise their constitutional rights, and the 1872 mining law is one of those rights. Every citizen is given the right, especially in the western states where there's a lot of public land, to make mining claims. And so part of what I will do is to show you how for $13 you can go to your county and file a notice of location and own 20 acres to mine for precious minerals.
Cool.
Or any other mineral that's considered economically valuable. Then within 90 days from when you do that, you have to go to the BLM and pay another $180. I think maybe it's $212 now. It's gone up a little bit. And I'll show you how to do that, how to fill it out, how to do your coordinates, how to do all that stuff. And now with the Google Earth, you don't have to pay a surveyor to go up there to find out where you're going to put your stakes. They'll recognize your GPS coordinates, and then you can go right where that is and put your stakes and own a mine. And when you pay that $180, as long as you pay the maintenance fee or you have a waiver, you own it in perpetuity. Your ancestors can own it. It's real estate, it's mortgageable, it's got all of the things that you would own if you had a condominium down in Salt Lake.
Wow.
And most people don't know that, so they here at these seminars can get all that information they want to do exactly that. And the more of that we can do, the more we can control our natural resources instead of the big mining companies using it and having Queen Elizabeth owned 30% of Rio Tinto, or the Chinese owning the iron mines in Cedar City, because that's what they do, and they're not part of our group. And so we need to tie up more of the natural resources by way of individual ownership, so that the government can't continue to give them probably to pay off our debt, things that they want besides money. Since they wouldn't accept our money, they wanted land and minerals, and they got it. That's the travesty. And part of President Trump's new order is make America great again. Well, we can start by owning our own mineral rights legally. And that's what I'm all about, one of the political motivations I have.
Man, I'm liking your thought there. And so this seminar, man, I'm thinking I want to come to your seminar. So this seminar, you're going to talk about how they can file their own mining claims. You're going to talk about what you would like for people to come and help you, help find the history of the Spanish mining here and that, just give you help and you do all that, man. And man, thank you for doing this, Gary, and for free. Thank you.
Hey, I'm too old. I can't spend it all anyway. So there's younger people that need to take back their country. And one of the ways is to own the mineral rights that our Constitution and our laws give us. And we're not doing it. And we should.
Man, I like it, Gary. Thank you.
You bet. I'm going to be able to get into the mining area sometime in May when the road's dry. We've got a beautiful camp up there for anyone that's invited to come. And I'm not just talking about the treasure hunting group, but anyone else. Utah's famous for its mines and its gold and its treasure. And the website will explain a lot of that. So I've located sunken treasure. I've located and excavated one of the mines with high values of gold and silver ore, which in the form of a certified assay. So we have mines that will produce income. And these other things, you just take your chances, but the camping's free. It's a beautiful campsite. It's established, the Forest Services. It's got a latrine. It's got the whole thing. There's 2 mines within about 100 yards where your kids can go over and actually mine calcite and keep it. And then the other mine has got the high-grade gold silver ore, which you can have a sample of that. And they're all things that you can do as a family. And I welcome all of you, appreciate your interest, and I hope that this thing turns out for everybody so that everybody has an exciting experience. Finally, I've located a real mine that's ancient on one of my claims, so that's why I'm willing to spend your time, because this particular mine is on one of the claims. We know it was ancient, so it's not just hearsay as to whether it was an ancient mining area or not. We've got the proof positive. And that's very important to me. The waybill, I've been able to work out, reinterpret, and measure over the 10 years I've been surveying, prospecting, researching up there, to where what the waybill says, which is a document that the Spanish miners left as a way for future miners to come back, and I've located all of the waypoints and know, and what it spells out is exactly where the Josephine should be with its 65,000 pounds of gold bars.
Those that don't know what the Josephine mine is, tell me, what is the Josephine mine? Tell me about it.
Well, the Spanish, during Napoleon's, when he conquered Spain, they named their mines after the Empress. And the Empress at the time was Josephine. Now, she got divorced, and but at the time, a guy named Garcia, who wrote the waybill, called this mine the Josephine. But it also says in the waybill that it's a series of mines. And so, based on that, with the trails that go to them, that then go to a mill, an Arestus, and then go to the smelter, which are obvious to see. You can see them. I'm not going to explain exactly how, but that'll be part of the seminar after you've agreed to, not compete or divulge stuff, because we don't want an army of people up there shooting each other.
Right. And so what is supposed to be there? Are you willing to tell what's supposed to be there? What was in the waybill or the document? Do you want to say that or not?
The waybill said that when you go, and it'll be on the website exactly what it is. The waybill says that you go in 130 feet, it's like so many varas, from the portal, and you run into a thick wooden door. Once you dismantle that, 20 feet past that will be 240 karga of gold bars. Now, a karga is 250 pounds. So 250 times 240 in today's gold prices, which is now about $1,200 or $1,300, is $996 worth of gold that's buried at that point.
Per karga?
No. The sum total. 240 kargas is what the waybill said they had to leave there because of hostiles. They had to leave it. They left there in May, obviously, to get to Mexico City. They couldn't go to Santa Fe because of the Pueblo result at the time, in the 1814 era. So all that stuff is part of the seminar that you'll be able to confirm, that you won't be wasting your time and spending your gas going up there for nothing, which I don't want you to do. I want you to know before you go what you probably find and agree, so that you feel like you got treated right.
So there's that 240 cargoes of cargo of gold, and then there was how many cargoes of silver? 680,
I think. But silver is only what now, about 11, 12, maybe $20 an ounce. So it's infinitesimally less. It's there too. But the waybill, you can go on some of these treasure hunting blogs and read it. It's not totally correct, and it was interpreted by the University of Utah with a previous claim holder who got it from the original owner, which was John Young, who probably got it from a bunch of university kids back in '38. So it's an interesting history, all of that. A guy named Rich went with Young, and I think they got all the silver. They bought a cat, and they dug out the Spanish dump and exposed the cave and the actual mine that we showed over there. Did that answer your question?
Yep. So the thing that excited me about you was that people had been mining this before, and the Forest Service shut them down.
Yep.
Kicked them off site, and you reclaimed it and battled the Forest Service. They tried to shut you down, but because of your political science background, you was able to battle them and make them agree that, yeah, you have rights.
To open it back up after they covered it.
So tell me about that.
Well, it's all with a CFR 36. And part of their reference when they said, no, we're not going to let you do anything, it's covered over, it's going to stay that way. And until you can prove...
So I want to back up. So originally it was opened.
Yes.
And then the Forest Service came in and bulldozed the whole thing over, this mine.
Not without cause. Now, the previous claim holder for me did some drilling and said he found some man-made bricks in a tunnel, and so they wouldn't. He didn't want to tell them that, so he just tried to file a plan of operation to tunnel it. And so they said, no, not until you could prove mineralization, economical mineralization.
But there was no cause for them to bulldoze that thing over. The story I got was they was afraid snowmobilers was going to fall off the cliffs. Well, how many cliffs are up in the mountains that snowmobilers could fall off, you know?
Well, no, that's not the truth. The truth is that it was a horrible looking, dangerous cliff face that any kid could have walked over and got killed. When they were doing their illegal tunneling, some of the rocks came down and broke both femurs of one of their workers. He had to be helicoptered out, so they had to start putting a lattice work together, and it was, they had to do that. They illegally covered the cave. They could cover it over, but they had to leave the cave open because it's a natural thing. They didn't do that. So that was one of their that was the way one of the things I could pierce their armor with.
So yeah, tell me how you was able to battle them, how you was able to use the rules, the laws, the regulations to get access to your mining rights.
In the CFR, there's an appeal process, and it asks you certain specific questions. Some of them are related to whether it was an excess in authority, they exceeded their authority. The other two I added, which was breach of fiduciary relationship and due diligence. And so I was able to cite the things they'd done with what they shouldn't have done, and the fact that I had in fact found calcite there which was marketable, and they weren't letting me market it. And I needed that particular area to ventilate the area where I was mining, which was what's called the glory hole, which is a terrible name for it. But anyway, bottom line was they agreed that yes, I had the right to open it back up. They caved in. They said, okay, if you drop your complaint, your appeal, which was obviously going to go in my favor, then we'll grant you a plan of operation. Very professional people, the Forest Service people were. They were totally out of place as far as their protection and in violation of the 1872 mining law and their own regulations about not covering over caves. So I had researched enough to know that they couldn't do that. They agreed, and once that was done, they allowed that to be done. It still hasn't been done. I've dug part of it out, but now with this information here, we're going to continue. And there's particular provisions in there where you can do it by hand with pick and shovel, and you don't even have to notify them. That's right in their CFR. So that's part of what we're going to do. I can still go and use a backhoe if I want under the original agreement, the plan of operation that they approved. But you got to keep in mind, they had a problem. The previous claim holder had totally defaced a beautiful area, and they had all the right to try to protect it and restore it. And I don't have anything against them for that.
Right.
And they've been honest and forward with me ever since. And they've granted me a permanent claim site, you know, a mining campsite. They've made sure that I get my key to get in whenever I want. I don't have anything. The people that are up there are outstanding public servants, and they made a mistake. I helped them understand it, and they corrected it.
Yeah, it was just probably more. They didn't really know their own laws 100%, and you just helped them out on that, huh?
Well, either that, or maybe they knew their own laws very well, and they knew how to use them to keep people from doing the same thing that the previous claim holder did. And they were using it, but they were not anticipating a new claim holder coming in and saying, hey, you had the right, but you don't have the right to continue to impede my mining rights. And they agreed to that.
Yeah.
And so, and they were leaving that open when they closed it down and didn't, and covered the cave too. They knew that they had a problem with that, but they were open. I went up there several times with them, several of them, and we discussed things. And finally, with the appeal, we had no problems. So it's not a situation where it's us fighting them. They were looking out for the public's rights, which they have the right to do. That doesn't mean they're 100% perfect in doing it, but once they acknowledged that they made a mistake, they allowed the correction, and that's where we're at with it now. And I still don't have any problem with them.
Cool. So as a recap then, you've got all the mining claims to this area and the areas surrounding areas around it. You know it's an old Spanish mine. There's records that there's a lot of gold and silver there, but you're looking for more evidences. You found the trails in that. You're looking for adventurers, people that are honest, people with metal detectors, people that are explorers to come help you map, track down exactly how big this old Spanish mining operation was.
Right, except the claims mine are all the Holt Canyon Fault, which is where the largest amount of mineralization would be, is around it. And I have contiguity rights that would pretty well blanket out the whole 15 square miles that mining thing existed. So, including Maxwell Lake and some ponds and other things that are part of that scene. It's a beautiful, spectacular place. And National Geographic published something years ago about it with a picture that's spectacular. It's at 10,000 feet. The camp's at about 9,500, and it's a beautiful place. And so I don't think that it should be kept from the public just because I'm afraid somebody's going to go up there and start stealing my gold. And so it's the important thing up there for me to do some things I want to do with our politics right now that I consider a shambles that maybe $140 trillion would help correct.
And so they get with you from your website. They want to come up and help you, see what you got going on, learn more of the story, and go on a little adventure. And Gary, man, thank you for being willing to share that with us. And what's your website one more time? JosephineGoldMine.com. And with that, Gary, that's a wrap. Thank you.